Hello, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening to this LinkedIn Live. My name is Naishad, and I'm coming to you from Melbourne. And we got Caroline Brown. She's coming to you from Adelaide, where she's currently in isolation due to COVID. And we could not do the show, for last 3 weeks because I had second round of COVID, and I also had the flu with it, which was absolute fun. But yeah, no, we are back. We will start our tradition back on coming to your LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn screen, Facebook, or YouTube on every Tuesday evening. And yeah, so if you're watching this show on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. Uh, Click on that button called subscribe. I think we are on around 500 subscribers so far, KB.
Well, we were up to 520 and then two people unsubscribed, Nash. Two.
Okay, all right.
I'd
So
go
I'll
for
find
longer.
I'll find him. No, don't worry. I'll
But they're
find
up to
them and we'll.
519 today. So,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. No, no. We'll punish them absolutely.
Mhm.
But welcome, Caroline Brown from Adelaide. As you can, that I still have got a bit of husky voice, and I
Mm.
still have to mute myself every time when I'm about to cough. So KB,
Mm.
go ahead.
Yes, it's funny. I haven't coughed all day, but I actually feel like coughing now. So, yes, I feel very blessed to have gotten off remarkably lightly, as you were saying. And I keep going, oh, it's all the cold water swims, but it's just damn luck, to be honest. But here I am in Adelaide, last day of isolation, and then I can be let out into the loose into the public. So, getting on my revenge on whoever gave it to me. No, I'm kidding. So, but it's great to be here. It's been too long, way too long. You haven't been able to
Yeah.
speak. I've been nagging you to get better with, a hidden
Yeah.
agenda of running these
Mm.
shows again.
Yep.
And I think like the job market is crazy at the moment. That's the
It
feedback that
is.
I've been getting from my clients, like getting
Yeah.
jobs without interviews, getting jobs before their resume is in order, getting lots of job
Mm.
offers
Mm.
asking for um, a leap in salary, like
Mm.
substantially improve. So
Mm.
if you're, and that's not for everybody, but if you
Sure.
are finding that, now's the time. Now's the time to put your best foot forward in terms of what you can offer and ask for what you want as well. So yeah,
Yeah, agree.
the market is prime.
Absolutely, absolutely. I fully agree with you on that. But I think today what I wanted to talk about was a brief discussion that I had with someone, and it was about usually people ask me or Caroline you about how to use LinkedIn and everything
Mm,
else, and he said, I've connected with a lot of people, and I think that they are able to help me out. And I said, but then what? What are you doing about it? Well, I'm planning to send them a message, but I don't know what to send them. Can you draft
mm,
something for me? I said, I'm not going to draft anything for it. I can give you an intent and the context of it. You're going to draft it.
mm,
And then it clicked on me that I think a lot of people are not taking action because they have it's most likely to not have any outcome, or they are going to
mm,
fail, or they are going to look stupid, or they are going to
mm,
look very amateurish. And I think
mm,
that's what a lot of job search actions people don't take, because we
mm,
still do what the default job seeking
mm,
approach is. For us to change that to contact someone who is looking for work or pick up a phone call
mm,
is still massively challenging. That's what I find, and it I can reflect on a quote that many years back someone told me, is that everybody wants to be champion, but no one wants to practice. It was very
mm,
profound quote that we all want to be like what Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, or in whichever pursuit that you are, but
mm,
we don't want to practice. That means practice involves that you pick up and you fail, and
mm,
that comes with it. That comes with the territory that you're going to fail. That's what I think. I want to really kind of focus on that. What really stops people to approach someone or to take an action that
mm,
you in your heart you think that, you know what, I think that might make a difference. I saw this job and I think I can do it, but I don't know how to approach it. I might as well just don't do it because I'm already working,
mm,
right? So why do I have
mm,
to take take an action right now? I'll do it when I feel that I have got the right material to send, when I've got the right approach to send, and everything else. That's what I've observed, KB, in last few
mm.
weeks.
Look, it's an interesting thing because I think a lot of people, when they're looking for jobs, you can find oodles and oodles of advice on how to submit a resume, write a cover letter. So the mechanics of it, there's lots and lots of advice, how to write a LinkedIn profile. But all of the things where it requires a level of judgment, people really struggle with. So the judgment is, how do I approach this person? Like, what do I say? But I think like a big a big barrier to people is like fear of success. Like, what if you write that or make that call and you're not feeling great about yourself and somebody says yes? So it's not failure. Failure is easier to bear in a lot of ways, but it's like, now I have to have that conversation. Now I have to have that supposed elevator pitch. Now I have to seem, act and feel a lot more confident than I'm feeling right now. So I think that's one of the things behind procrastination, or behind not actually doing it. And obviously, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. But just in terms of that thing around reaching out to someone, nobody knows what you're meant to say, right? So the person on the other end doesn't know all you and all the amazing things. They don't know what you're meant to say. So so it doesn't matter if you don't get it perfect. And then the other thing is that, I've never heard of an employer or ever say, how dare you want to work for me? And I've never heard anybody ever say, how dare you find me interesting enough to connect with? Um, so, the fear is all here, really. And I think the action is actually, you know, going and getting some advice on how to do it. But having a go. Like, the worst thing that happens, say, for example, if you're reaching out to someone via email, the worst thing that happens is you don't get a reply back. That's the worst thing. Nothing. That's what, there's nothing else that bad that happens. A 10-ton block doesn't drop from the sky. The house doesn't explode. All that happens is you don't get a reply back when you reach out. That's what I've seen. But it is, I reckon, it's fear of success. It's having to prove yourself when you're in a space where you're not feeling that fantastic about what you're doing, basically.
Yeah, fear of success is very very weird because the moment you are successful, it just kind of breaks that what we say a default
Mm,
way of thinking that you have. And go, oh God, now what am I going to do now? I've got this interview coming up. Yeah,
mm,
what am I going to do now, right? A lot of my clients and probably your clients today. I still remember one client that he called me. He got a job, and he called me after a week and said, "Naishad, now a previous company that I interviewed now called me and said they want to offer me a job. Now I've got two jobs. What am I going to do now?" I said, "That's a very interesting one, isn't it? That you got
yes.
faced with this idea of two jobs." And he said, I'm just,
Yeah,
he
how do
was
you feel?
frozen completely, that he did not
Yeah,
know how to do that because his
yeah,
main concern was that someone's going to feel pretty bad and pretty annoyed at him
yeah.
for, for giving up a job or rejecting an offer.
Mm,
And I
mm,
said, you might feel bad probably for 5 minutes. The company might feel bad for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they are going to get over that. You're going to get over it. But ultimately, when you go home, you want to choose something that your gut says is the right choice for your career. Don't think
mm,
about what the company wants. Think about what's the right fit for you and what's the right call for you at this
mm,
point in time, not 5 years later, because you don't know
mm.
what's going to happen in 5 years later, right? So
See,
I
it's the
think I
funny
think
thing
that that's
about
very
decision
important.
making there. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I
No,
was just
go
going to
no
say
no
it's the
go
funny.
ahead. Yeah.
often we're making, there's just 2 points that you made that I think are really interesting to kind of unpack a bit. One is like that idea that you can predict the outcome, right? So what if I get a job, like, but the actual outcome is different. So what you're fearing is different. So the choice, the fear was isn't getting a job. It's, oh my God, suddenly I've got 2 offers. So you can never predict. You can get extremely anxious about what you think an outcome might be, but then sometimes there's a different outcome that happens that is the bit that you should be worried about, right? So, and that's always the case in these things. And then the second thing is that the decision, like you say, isn't about am I letting people down? It is about I've got to make the right decision about, is this the right job for me? That's what I'm not so much focused on that decision, but focus on how do I evaluate the opportunities. Is this a good fit? Am I a good fit for the company? Is it going to meet my financial needs and my career needs and all of those sorts of things as well? So yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say that.
I think career decisions do paralyze people. It's not, and
Mm,
I can assure you that it's not easy decisions at all. I'm not saying it that I've mastered the art of career decision making at all.
mm,
Um, but what I've learned is to trust my instinct and trust,
mm,
because nobody makes a decision without any rationale. You would have either looked at the salary, you looked at the growth opportunity, looked at the company culture, everything else, and now then you got to make a choice that, okay, which one's right fit for me at this. And the thing to think of is that what's the right fit for me right now.
mm,
At this point, you're not negotiating a free trade deal with a country where you have to think of 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, in the future. You don't need to do that. You can think of
mm,
what's the most important, because on the other way is that when the organization has to make decision, they don't take that much time, right? They say one, two,
mm,
three, four, five, six, 7, 10. See you later. So
mm,
that's what happens. So I think that's equally important. But I think going back to the aspect of taking action, we'd love to hear from people who are listening to it. Tell us about what what stops you in taking action. What have you observed about yourself or other people that get stopped by taking action that they feel is the right action to take? And
mm,
we would love to hear your feedback, your comments on this one.
mm.
Secondly, is
It's a
also
funny
similar
thing.
to thing about even LinkedIn is obviously, I feel that you can hide behind computer on LinkedIn and you can send them a message, right? And you
Mm,
can then relax. But I feel most of the time people get really scared of calling people,
mm,
whether that's a recruiter or whether that's somebody said, look, yeah, you know what, call Caroline Brown. She's a friend of mine and she's always looking for accountants. Why don't you give her a call and say that, look, Naishad asked you to call her. And I said, that's
mm,
that's difficult, right? Because
mm,
he or she doesn't know whether Naishad really is a good friend. He's just saying it to, handle the ball to Caroline rather
mm,
than doing it. I think that's very difficult, for a lot of us, because it's a reference that they are going to talk with, and you will encounter those situations in whether you're job seeking or career change, whichever way somebody asks you to reach out to someone. It's important
mm,
to set up the context of it, that you are, as I've said that, probably 100 times, that you're not selling anything illegal or unethical. You are
mm,
reaching out to people because you've got something remarkable to sell. That's your skill, your
mm,
experiences. So you should not feel ashamed or embarrassed or feel small when you reach out to people, because it's
mm,
like you're giving up on your career before you even start. Before you even
mm,
call, you're feeling so small that you kind of said, you know what? Yeah, I might tell myself that, oh, I've contacted Caroline. She didn't pick up the phone call in 3 rings, and I'm going to put the phone down, because I think
oh,
that
you're
that's
glad
going
it's kept going through to message bank. Look, it's a funny thing too about this is, we talk about actions, right? And as you, like having spent the last 7 days at home, I can speak powerfully to this, but your world closes in, right? When you're looking for a job, you're doing it by yourself, your world closes in. And I think at that time, you can sometimes only see the one action to take, right? That's it. Like you lose that creative part of your brain because you're too busy being stressed out about the financials or how long is it going to be, how you're going to pay your bills, your rent, your mortgage, and all that kind of stuff. So it really is a time, I think, where to get ideas about action, it may not be the big scary thing that you need to do, right? It's a great time to actually reach out to other people because in doing that, you'll get a whole bunch of ideas about actions that you can take to improve your chances of getting a job. We had a wonderful guest on Ben a couple of years ago. I think he set up a group of, was it 8 people? I can't remember the number.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, eight, yeah, eight
Yeah, and
people
they
were there.
all that their sole purpose was to take on their job search with a sledgehammer, basically. And they all got together and they all did different things and they all shared ideas and they all shared leads, but they also shared something I think that was really equally, if not the most important thing, was this kind of like can do optimism around what they were doing. So if you're running out of ideas about actions to take or you're too scared to take that action, have a think about connecting up with other people and getting ideas from them as well, because there's more than one way to skin a cat in this kind of scenario, and you can often get locked into just the one way, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll have to find because there's so many episodes that we have done. I need to find that
Mm,
particular episode because I think he landed a job in kind of 2 months or
too
something.
big.
I 2 weeks or
It was
something. Yeah, that's what I
ridiculous.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we
He's
found
really
him.
cheeky about it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember. I remember. I think that was actually at the time of the peak of pandemic in probably
Yeah.
in 2020 that we interviewed him. Not even
Mm.
last year. So that
No, it
was
wasn't
yeah,
last
that
year.
was quite yeah. Was it last year or the year before? I think.
No, year before. Yeah,
Yeah, before that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
No, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'll probably find and see if I can share that link, with the audience. But as a phone
Mm,
is in my view interesting. It's something that a lot of people struggle with is to contact and I think a lot of the things can be done on the phone because somebody
mm,
says, oh yeah, how what it takes 10 minutes from 15 minutes for me to draft an email and then reread and review it and do that,
mm,
right? I would rather do a quick phone call, write some points and say this is what I want to talk about, right?
mm,
And have a go at that.
mm,
Remember, I think classic example is what me and Caroline did last year with that bit of scrap paper, right? We took an action about creating
mm,
cards against insanity, right? Is that idea of that, let's try it out, let's see what happens, right? I'm pretty sure that you're not going to bring Mars rover down with a phone call. So I think
mm,
it's okay for you to do that. So I think taking action is probably the most important thing for even for
mm,
career changers too. I think it's really hard. And I've
mm,
in my recent job, I work with a lot of people who are going through career transition. And it's hard because they've been working in a certain field for so much period of time that first of all they lose the sight of what's out there. Right? The
mm,
peripheral vision is about the career is lost, and secondly is that they've not gone out and feel very uncomfortable to pick up a phone call and talk to somebody. Hey, I'm interested to become an accountant, but tell me more about it. you
mm,
know so it's quite difficult for those people who are looking for career change. And as we know, if you're considering career change, that's very powerful for you to examine
mm,
as many possibilities as you can. And you cannot find them about a particular job or a role or a career by reading through Google articles, right?
mm,
That's not going to be sufficient, and it doesn't give you that confidence that, hey, I
Mm,
spoke to an accountant, a real person, and he or she said these things, and it doesn't talk
mm,
about that on Google. I now have got a real sense of what accountants do and what do they do every day, and whether
mm,
it's a rewarding job for me or whether that would be a very difficult job for me. It is
mm,
very essential to use phone or networking meeting for that matter, right? Or even networking events for that matter, is to really examine as many opportunities as you can or as many roles as you can, as part of a career transition process. So I think talking with people is going to be, and obviously last 2 years has been struggle for all of us. We
mm,
must have lost a bit of touch of how to talk to people in person. I'm actually attending a conference for next 3 days in Sydney, and that's going to be one of the biggest thing, for me. Apart from controlling my cough, I have to be, I have to really pull my all my strengths to make sure that I am and I communicate and connect with people really well.
mm. It's an interesting point that you make, Nish, because I mean, at the moment, excuse me, you're doing the career counselling for a whole range of individuals that have sought out help. And I think people don't like ours is a very underexplored industry, and so many people don't tap into getting some help with their career. And so many people go into kind of self blame around whatever's going on in where I am. It's my fault, um, or I'm somehow to blame for it, or it's happening because I'm not good enough. And then you can get locked into like not being able to see any other possibility for yourself. Just you're defined by that job and that set of circumstances. And quite often, the way that we are in our workplace is like reflective of the way that we are in, the rest of our lives. But we might go and get help for family relationships, but career relationships and ourselves in our jobs, we typically don't do that. So if you're feeling like, and sometimes what we do is complain to family and friends, and ad nauseum about what's going on, or we get advice from them, which is based on, I just want you to stop complaining, versus I really have some great, insight to what makes you tick and what's out there in the marketplace and where the two of you should meet. So my point is, like, just in terms of, again, going back to that action step, is get some professional help. And there's some great free help you can get in Victoria now with what you're doing. But there's also other organisations that offer voluntary, services as well. But it will be an eye opener. Like, you may well not decide to change your career. It just might be the way that you're working, like the types of projects or the way that you're approaching your work is not suitable to your strengths, or it might be that the company that you're in doesn't allow for a freedom of thinking or autonomy that you need, or it might be that you are completely in the wrong job and you're just always pushing the concrete up the hill to get things done and blaming yourself. So that idea about going and getting somebody who can see something in you that you can't see, or help you see that, is a really big gift that you can give to yourself for the rest of your career, because then you can go, you can sort out the bits that you own, and the bits that are the external factors of being in the wrong job, or the wrong company, or that type of thing. So there's so much research out there that says that if you get a job that's aligned to your strengths, you're more productive, you're more likely to be promoted. You enjoy your work more, which means that you go and seek more of it. It's just a gift that you can actually give to yourself.
Absolutely, I think we spoke about that aspect of. I think I did a doodle on career coherence as well,
Mm,
which is what Mahatma Gandhi said about happiness. What you think, what you do, and something else is kind of happiness. You find your joy, and in
mm,
career, where you find your joy or happiness, one view, not there might be million views over there, is that who you are, what you believe in, what you do. So who you
mm,
are, what do you believe in and what you do. Once it start to get in that alignment, that really you find joy, you find
mm,
happiness in your career. And sometimes it can happen accidentally. Sometimes you have to really dig deeper to find out about this idea of course. You'll have to do some, we don't recommend you to go to Himalayas to figure that out, right? You can stay home and figure that out too. It doesn't need to be that way.
mm,
But when you're figuring it out, you need to be gentle with yourself. Okay, you don't need to
mm,
be like those motivational seminars that you go through and that people are shouting at you to really pull your socks in and everything else. I think that probably what you love is going to die over there. You have to be very
mm,
gentle. I'm asking you to be gentle. It doesn't mean that I'm asking you to handle yourself with kids' gloves, but
mm.
be really thorough. Ask yourself some really simple questions. And another thing, that's my dog.
Buddy has struck again. So, Sajid Kumar has put up a comment, and it's tips to motivate yourself to administer, I guess, a lengthy job search and setting realistic goals. That's a great, great question, I guess. Um, like one of the things I've noticed with people that have been really successful is that they treat it like a full-time job. So, and they put barriers around it. So they're not doing it all weekend, they're not doing it all evening, but they've set it up like a job that they actually do during the day. So that would be one way, because you can very easily lose your mojo by staring meaninglessly at the screen. You've got to keep your spirits up in terms of putting some good back into your body and doing some of those things that keep you optimistic as well. So that would be one tip. And then just speaking really broadly, I think it's knowing the right balance of actions that you should take that are suitable for you. So you do hear, that 80% of jobs aren't advertised or whatever. So you need to spend 80% of your time networking, but that may not be the case. I think you've got to take a sweep of the market and work out exactly how many jobs are out there that are worth your while actually applying. And if there's 100 decent jobs, then obviously the market is short and that's a good focus. But if there's two in the last month, you are going to have to invest much more at the different end of the scale in terms of networking. So make sure you've got the right proportion of time devoted. I also think having a regular check-in with a coach or an accountability group, I would put that as a regular schedule in the diary as well. And be prepared, even though it's a lengthy, it's a buoyant market. It's not a buoyant market for everyone. So be prepared for it to take longer than you actually expect as well. Because I think a lot of people have very unrealistic expectations and about how long it's actually going to take. What are your tips, Nish?
I think I probably second all the tips that you said. One of the important thing is, I think, what you can do is to have different sets of activities every day too. Um,
Mm,
right? Because you do get, you look at applications and then you get do feel really let down and said, now apply for this job again. Oh God, when am I going to get a break, right? So that's why I'm going to do a shameless plug. That's why we've developed the Cards Against Insanity, because what it allows you to do is to have different actions. They all contribute to you getting a job quicker, but there are different sets of action. We ask you to, I think there's a tip around mindset and everything else, positive, optimism. But we also ask you to write, gratitude. Talk to a few people that you feel gratitude towards. Why? Because I think it's important to reach out to them. So you got heaps of those tips. I think it's like considering any pursuit. You got to mix in activities to make sure that you are you kind of keeping your mojo alive. Secondly is accountability team. I think that we undervalue the aspect of group work, and specifically when we are looking for work, or when we are looking for for a career change. We just don't value, I think, collective wisdom. We don't value that at all. If consider, if you've got five people who are looking for work, same or different industry, and you've got once a week you get around for half an hour, 1 hour, or a Zoom, or for a coffee, I think you're going to someone's mistake, you're going to learn from it, so you don't repeat that. It's like collectively you you grow. So I think that would be another one, Sajid, for you to consider, to set up a kind of a group, accountability, whatever that you like to call, but something that you travel together. I think that would be my thing.
I like what he said about taking breaks during the job search as well. Again, you need that revitalization, like to actually put yourself back into a more buoyant and optimistic outlook. But also the other thing about the group, and Sajid Kumar has touched on here, is reevaluating the strategies. Right, you may well think that you have the best CV and the best LinkedIn profile ever, but handing it to somebody you trust and saying, in 30 seconds, because that's even very generous, like, what would be your main take out about my experience? Who am I? Do I look and sound anything like the person that you know me to be professionally? Because I think that we find it very, very difficult to uncover what we really should be marketing about ourselves by ourselves because we're too close to it. So that reevaluation, or using that job search buddy, just from not whether you like the format of my CV, or you wouldn't use this word here, or you shouldn't use that color, or that little qualification needs to go down there. That's not the question. The question is, if you looked at it for 30 seconds, what would you understand about me, and would you want to hire me for this particular role? Is a really good question to ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stuart says thank you. And shared
Hmm.
knowledge. Shared knowledge is very, very, very powerful. Absolutely, Sajid. Excellent. All right. So I'm running out of tips now, Caroline. And I'm also running out of
Running out of
water as well.
voice. It's probably a good time to finish.
Exactly. So thank you again, everybody who came along. I'm going to put the Cards Against Insanity link over here. So go ahead and buy it. It's going to change a lot aspects of your job search. It'll have immediate impact on it.
Mm.
And yeah, we look forward to meeting you again next Tuesday. We'll have an expert with us, or we will do um, you know the session. Whichever way, you'll still receive the value.
All right, thanks, Nash. And yes, everybody stay safe, stay out of trouble. And we'll see you next
Exactly.
week. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do subscribe. That would make a big difference. And we can hit 521.
Excellent. All
All
right,
right,
everyone.
bye.
Have a good evening. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.